there is evidence that someone, or more accurately something, has tampered with our nuclear capability, and that something may not be of this world.
Soon after the UFO crashed in Varginha, Brazil in 1996, eyewitnesses reported beings no one could explain.
Tinha no corpo, tinha pé grande, olhos super regalado, vermelho.
But it didn't stop there. Soon after, the media was flooded with reports of alleged UFO crashes and countless alien encounters from around the world. So you better stay for the undeniable evidence of extraterrestrial existence that will freak you out.
Both objects were of a flattened disc shape with a dark area to the right. They were brilliant yellow with light emanating from within, and I estimated them to be up to possibly a mile across.
In 1996, a quiet Brazilian town called Varginha suddenly became global news. 3 young girls claimed they saw a strange creature crouching beside a wall. It was small, oily skinned, had red eyes, and a strong smell that stuck in their memory. Soon after, locals noticed military trucks moving through town, roads blocked, and rumors spreading fast. Hospitals, soldiers, and officials denied everything, yet witnesses stayed consistent for years.
Aquela coisa estranha, redonda. Nossa, tava na mesma posição e não mexeu, né? Perna e braços normal, de homem normal. Tinha no corpo, tinha pé grande, olhos, corpo bem com as veias estufadas, tipo que tivesse lutado, não sei.
No clear photo ever surfaced, but the behavior of authorities made people question the official silence. Was it mass panic, a secret test, or something truly unknown? Even today, Varginha remains one of the most unsettling UFO cases South America has ever produced. Malmstrom Air Force Base.
Somewhere in America, there are more than 7,000 nuclear warheads poised at the ready. The possibility that any one of these sleeping giants might be compromised is unthinkable. But think again. There is evidence that someone, or more accurately something, has tampered with our nuclear capability, and that something may not be of this world.
Nuclear missile bases are not places where glitches are taken lightly. In 1967, personnel at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana reported strange lights hovering near the facility. At the same time, multiple nuclear missiles suddenly went offline. Former officers later claimed the shutdowns happened during UFO sightings above the base. The Air Force acknowledged missile malfunctions, but blamed technical issues. Decades later, retired officers went public, saying the timing was no coincidence.
He's screaming into the phone. He's yelling, "Sir, I'm looking out the front gate. I see this glowing red object."
Official documents confirmed system failures, but avoided linking them to sightings. That gap between testimony and explanation keeps people talking. Even skeptics admit the timing is uncomfortable. Malmstrom stands out because it mixes UFO reports with nuclear security, a combination that naturally raises alarms. Whatever caused those failures, the silence around them only made the mystery louder.
If the UFO, whatever it is, has the capability of shutting down our missiles as they did, it's in the public interest to make this an open debate as to what it all means.
Lonnie Zamora Incident. In 1964, police officer Lonnie Zamora was chasing a speeding car in Socorro, New Mexico when a loud roar caught his attention. He saw a white, oval-shaped craft landed in a gully, standing on legs. Nearby, 2 small figures in white suits moved around it. Moments later, the craft lifted off with a blast of flame and vanished. Investigators found burn marks, crushed plants, and clear landing impressions. The Air Force took the case seriously and couldn't explain it, even after extensive analysis. Zamora never changed his story and avoided publicity for the rest of his life. Because of his credibility and physical evidence, this incident remains one of the most respected close encounter UFO cases on record.
Well, that tourist came up here and wanted gasoline. He come from the south, and he said, "Your aircraft around here flies awfully low." I said, "Well, how was that, sir?" He said, "Well, it like knocked me off the road out there." He said, "It must have been in trouble, so a policeman was going to it." So I asked him, "Was it the helicopter?" He said, "No." He says, "It was, it's a funny looking one."
10 feet tall. This clip shocked the internet when it showed 2 huge, human-like figures said to be nearly 10 feet tall on Ilha do Mel, an island more than 3 kilometers off Brazil's southeast coast. People quickly jumped to one idea: aliens visiting Earth. Things got even stranger when reports, including one from the New York Post, claimed a second figure was seen standing nearby. That detail sent speculation flying. Even Brazil's provincial government reacted online, adding fuel to the buzz. They didn't confirm anything though, and suggested it might have been tourists. Still, the question remains, who or what was really standing there?
Você consegue captar as... Mano, pior que mexe esquisito demais.
Trump on aliens. One of the more talked about moments from Donald Trump's interview on the Joe Rogan Experience came when Rogan got him talking about UFOs and unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. Trump said he's never really been a believer in aliens, but he has spoken with several jet pilots who he described as solid people, who told him they saw something unusual in the sky.
So I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something, but I interviewed jet pilots that were solid people, perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything. And they said, we saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, you know.
According to Trump, these pilots said they witnessed objects that were round and flying much faster than an F-22 fighter jet, a plane already known for extreme speed. He said the objects weren't comets or meteors, and that the descriptions came from pilots with credibility. Trump didn't claim these were aliens, but he acknowledged there's a lot of interest in aerial phenomena, and that the pilots' accounts got his attention.
It's not a great interest for me, but it's a little interest. I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life.
Belgian UFO wave. For months, people across Belgium kept looking up and seeing the same strange thing. Between 1989 and 1990, thousands reported massive triangular objects moving silently through the night sky. These weren't quick flashes either. The objects hovered, turned, and moved slowly. Police officers saw them, and the Belgian Air Force took it seriously enough to launch fighter jets. Radar systems locked onto unknown targets that made sharp turns no normal aircraft could manage. Instead of denying it, the government held press conferences and shared information publicly.
What these pilots detected was well outside the normal flying envelope of an airplane. Sometimes it had speeds between 150 knots till 990 knots, an acceleration which occurred in a few seconds. These speeds would be impossible to tolerate for a human being.
Eventually, the sightings stopped as suddenly as they began. The Belgian UFO wave is still remembered as one of the few times officials openly admitted they didn't know what people were seeing.
There was nothing that existed that could outperform this F-16 aircraft. But the pilot says that as he's pursuing this object, the object makes essentially a quick turn and deviates off his radar system and he loses it.
Alderney UFO sighting. This sighting didn't come from conspiracy forums. It came from airline pilots. In 2007, a commercial flight near the Channel Islands reported seeing 2 huge yellow objects moving outside the plane. Passengers noticed them too, which added pressure to report it officially.
Both objects were of a flattened disc shape with a dark area to the right. They were brilliant yellow with light emanating from within, and I estimated them to be up to possibly a mile across.
The pilots described the objects as solid, smooth, and incredibly large, stretching across miles of sky. Air traffic control confirmed unusual radar returns at the same time. Investigators later suggested rare atmospheric effects, but the flight crew pushed back on that idea. They were experienced pilots who insisted this was something physical. No military activity followed, and no clear explanation stuck. The Alderney sighting stands out because it shows how even modern airspace, filled with radar and rules, can still produce moments nobody can fully explain.
Traveling back from Southampton to Alderney in a Trailander, I had noticed Ray looking out through the windscreen with his binoculars, which is quite unusual.
I saw Ray turn around and talk to someone behind him while we were flying. Now, it wasn't worrying from the standpoint of flying, but it was unusual. And he was gesturing to something down below.
Tic Tac encounter.
UFOs have captivated the public interest for decades, but they've always been dismissed, including by me, as the province of wackos. But that is changing thanks to some remarkable videotape and first-hand accounts from very sober people who are trained to identify aircraft.
Things changed when this incident moved from rumor to confirmed footage. In 2004, U.S. Navy pilots training off the coast tracked a strange object on radar that didn't behave like anything familiar. When pilots got close, they saw a white, oval-shaped craft with no wings or exhaust. It moved instantly, dropping from high altitude to sea level in seconds. Infrared cameras recorded the encounter, and multiple systems backed it up. Years later, the Pentagon officially confirmed the videos were real and unexplained. That confirmation alone shocked people more than the footage itself. No explanation followed, and no country claimed the technology. Since then, the term UAP started replacing UFO in official language. The Tic Tac encounter mattered because it proved these objects weren't just stories. They were tracked and recorded.
No, I took an auto track. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at
Brazil alien proof. This video exploded online not long after it was posted and quickly grabbed the attention of the UFO crowd. The clip showed a strange creature with smooth red skin, an oversized head, and dark almond-shaped eyes. Almost instantly, people connected it to a chilling case from 1996, when two teenage girls in Brazil claimed they saw a creature that looked exactly like this. After that, more witnesses stepped forward, saying they saw the same being. That's when the questions really started. Could this be real evidence of the famous Varginha alien? The mysterious creature linked to one of the most talked about UFO cases in history. Even after all these years, the truth behind it remains unknown, and that mystery is what keeps people watching and debating. Travis Walton abduction. Imagine driving home from work and watching your coworker vanish in front of you. That's basically what happened in 1975 when Travis Walton and his logging crew saw a glowing object hovering in the woods. Walton got closer. There was a flash, and he was suddenly gone. Search teams looked for days, but found nothing. Then, 5 days later, Walton reappeared alive. He claimed he woke up inside a strange craft surrounded by non-human beings. Investigators tested the crew with lie detectors, and most passed, which kept the story alive. Skeptics still argue it was staged, while Walton never backed down. Whether true or not, this case became one of the most talked about abduction stories ever recorded. Ariel school incident. Kids aren't usually taken seriously when it comes to strange stories, but this one stuck. In 1994, over 60 school children in Zimbabwe reported seeing a craft land near their playground. They described small beings with large eyes who seemed to communicate without speaking.
It was at break time.
Yeah?
And then we saw something shining. And we saw two people. They were in black, tight black suit. And they had big eyes.
Teachers arrived moments later, but saw nothing. The children were interviewed separately, yet their stories matched in surprising detail. A Harvard psychiatrist later spoke to them on camera, noting how calm and consistent they were.
Where the spaceship had landed, all the insects and ants and stuff like that were all dead, and there was a huge black mark there.
There was no sign of mass panic or coaching. Decades later, many of those kids, now adults, still tell the same story. Either way, Ariel stands out because it wasn't one child or one witness, but an entire group sharing an experience they never forgot.
Do you feel, as a child, do you feel privileged? Or do you think, next time if the UFO is coming, please go to another school?
No, I feel privileged.
You feel privileged that you saw it?
I'd love them to come back.
Shag Harbor incident. In 1967, residents of Shag Harbor, a small fishing village in Canada, witnessed a glowing object crash into the ocean. Thinking a plane had gone down, locals contacted authorities immediately. The Coast Guard responded, but instead of wreckage, they found strange yellow foam floating on the surface. Divers searched underwater, but found nothing. Government documents later confirmed the object was officially listed as a UFO, not an aircraft. Naval forces quietly continued investigations for days, then stopped without explanation. What makes this case unique is that it's one of the few UFO incidents officially recorded as unsolved by a government. No debris was ever recovered, and no answers were given. Shag Harbor remains one of the strongest crash cases involving multiple witnesses, emergency response, and lasting official mystery. Varginha UFO authentic sighting. Back in 1996, in Varginha, Brazil, locals claimed a UFO crashed, and strange creatures were seen wandering the streets, sparking one of the world's most famous alien stories.
My thoughts are Bill Nelson, the head of NASA, has made some startling statements regarding the phenomenon. I mean, he was basically, look, these things are real. We don't know what they are. We should find out.
Filmmaker James Fox dives into these reports in Moment of Contact, interviewing witnesses and experts. NASA's recent studies into military UFO sightings make the story even more intriguing. Whether real or legend, Varginha proves that some mysteries just won't go away. Roswell UFO incident. Back in 1947, something crashed on a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico, and the story changed history. At first, the US Army announced they had recovered a flying disc, which shocked the public. Just hours later, the statement was replaced with a new explanation, claiming it was only a weather balloon. That sudden switch created decades of suspicion. Witnesses later described unusual metal that couldn't be burned or bent, unlike anything known at the time. The government eventually blamed a classified balloon project, but many people felt the answers never matched the question. Roswell became the birthplace of modern UFO culture, inspiring books, films, and endless debate. Whether it was secrecy or misunderstanding, Roswell ensured UFOs would never be ignored again. Kenneth Arnold sighting. In June 1947, private pilot Kenneth Arnold was flying near Mount Rainier when he noticed something unusual. 9 bright objects were moving across the sky at incredible speed, far faster than any aircraft he knew. He described their movement as skipping across water, which newspapers misunderstood and turned into the term flying saucers. Arnold wasn't chasing fame. He was a respected pilot who simply reported what he saw.
Right here, we've seen something, I've seen something, hundreds of pilots have seen something, and we have 15 million witnesses before anybody's going to look into the problem seriously. Why, this is utterly fantastic. This is more fantastic than flying saucers or people from Venus or anything, as far as I'm concerned.
His sighting triggered a wave of similar reports across the United States within weeks. Military officials interviewed him seriously, trying to understand what technology could move like that. No clear answer was ever given, whether they were experimental craft or something unknown. Arnold's calm and detailed account marked the moment UFOs entered mainstream attention for the first time in modern history. Lubbock Lights. In 1951, residents of Lubbock, Texas began seeing strange lights flying silently over the city at night. The objects appeared in perfect V-shaped formations and moved smoothly across the sky. What made this case stand out was who witnessed it. Professors from Texas Tech University saw the lights and openly admitted they couldn't explain them. Photographs were taken, which forced the Air Force to respond publicly. The formations were too precise, and the speed didn't match known behavior.
It gives a clear indication of a kind of cell type or beehive type structure underneath, which is very interesting because it matches nicely with witness descriptions of the Roswell object.
The sightings continued for weeks, keeping the town on edge. Lubbock Lights became one of the earliest cases where educated witnesses challenged official explanations, proving UFO sightings weren't just rumors or imagination. Tehran UFO incident. This one starts like a normal night and then quickly stops being normal at all. In 1976, people in Tehran kept reporting a bright object just hanging in the sky.
No matter how good a UFO sighting seems to be, it's always true that there will be skeptics who are going to try to take it down. They'll put it in their crosshairs and they will do everything they can to try to make it seem conventional, explainable, prosaic. And that's definitely the case with the Iranian UFO of 1976.
So the military decided to check it out. Fighter jets were sent up, but as soon as one pilot got close, his controls suddenly shut down. He pulled away, and everything worked again. Another jet tried the same thing, and the same failure happened. Pilots also said the object released a smaller light that moved on its own, which radar systems picked up too. Later, a detailed report was sent to US intelligence, treating the event as serious and unexplained. No weather issue or known aircraft fit what happened. Decades later, this case still gets attention because trained pilots had no answers that night.
Residents of citizens in the city who are seeing a very intense bright light in the sky that seems to have multiple colors, depending on the caller. There's blues, there's yellows, there's reds, and there's a lot of flashing. So it's something highly unusual.
Rendlesham Forest incident. Instead of lights high in the sky, this story unfolds right at ground level. In 1980, U.S. Air Force personnel stationed in England noticed strange lights dropping into Rendlesham Forest near their base. Curious and concerned, soldiers went inside the woods to investigate. Some claimed they saw a small glowing craft sitting on the forest floor with symbols on it. Others reported lights moving silently through the trees and even shooting beams upward. Radiation readings were taken, and audio recordings captured what the soldiers were saying in real time.
Pigmentation. You just saw a light where? Wait, slow down. Where? Right in this position here, straight ahead, between the tree. There it is again. It appears to be maybe moving a little bit this way. It's brighter than it has been. Yellow. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way.
Senior officers later wrote official reports, which were eventually released to the public. Authorities downplayed the whole thing, calling it misunderstanding or natural light. Still, when trained military witnesses can't agree on an explanation, people tend to keep asking questions long after. Cash Landrum incident. This case didn't involve cameras or radar, just regular people on a dark highway. In 1980, a woman, her granddaughter, and a friend were driving through Texas when they saw a huge diamond-shaped object hovering above the road. It was extremely hot, forcing them to stop their car. Military helicopters soon appeared and seemed to escort the object away. Within hours, all three began feeling seriously sick. They later suffered burns, hair loss, and long-term health problems. Doctors documented their injury, which made the story harder to dismiss. The family believed the craft was part of a secret military operation and filed a lawsuit. The government denied everything, and the case was thrown out. Even so, Cash Landrum remains disturbing because it's a UFO story where physical harm was clearly recorded afterward. Trans-en-Provence case. Not every UFO case relies on eyewitness stories alone, and that's what makes this one interesting. In 1981, a farmer in southern France said a strange object landed briefly in his field before flying away. He didn't chase attention or call the press, he simply reported it.
Forma c'était comme si on posait deux assiettes, l'una sull'altra.
Investigators arrived and took soil samples from the exact spot where the object had been. Lab tests showed the ground was compressed and chemically altered in unusual ways.
Sì, che io vedo ronda. Va, maintenant commence à revenir l'herbe, ma là ils ont coupé beaucoup de fois. Et ici.
France's official UFO agency treated the case seriously and documented everything. The witness stayed consistent and calm throughout the investigation. No aircraft or farming equipment could explain the physical traces left behind. Years later, scientists reviewed the evidence again and still couldn't fully explain it.
There was a full scientific study showing that some changes were brought to the plants near the place where the UFO landed.
This case stands out because the land itself became part of the mystery.
I was working in the fields when I saw a strange object. I tried to get closer. I was about 30 meters from it when I saw it. Only when it took off, 30 or 40 seconds later, could I really notice its shape and form.
O'Hare Airport, UFO.
United Airlines employees who swear it was something otherworldly in the skies above Chicago's O'Hare Airport.
Airports aren't the kind of place where strange things are supposed to happen unnoticed. In 2006, multiple United Airlines employees at Chicago O'Hare reported seeing a dark, disc-shaped object hovering over one of the gates. Ramp workers, supervisors, and pilots all described the same thing.
We reported a UFO or a flying disc above Charlie Time. Seriously. Excellent. Yeah. So nobody can see it, but use caution. All right.
It stayed there silently for several minutes, then suddenly shot straight up through the clouds. Right after, a perfectly round hole appeared in the cloud layer, slowly closing on itself.
They saw one, a UFO. They say it hovered over a terminal without lights before shooting straight up, right through the clouds last fall.
The airline didn't file an official report, which raised eyebrows later. The FAA claimed they saw nothing on radar, yet never denied the witnesses. What makes this case weird is how many trained aviation workers saw it at the same time. No shaky phone footage, no wild theories, just people doing their jobs and seeing something that didn't belong there. Stephenville sightings.
A pretty exciting evening in terms of these UFO sightings. We've got the guy who actually shot the video that we just showed not too long ago out Stephenville. His name is Saber Bowman.
Small towns usually don't expect national attention, but Stephenville, Texas got it anyway. In 2008, dozens of residents reported seeing massive objects flying low and fast across the sky. Some described bright lights. Others talked about silent shapes, moving in ways jets can't. The local airport radar initially showed unidentified tracks matching the reports. The military first denied any activity, then later admitted jets were in the area, just not at those times. That back and forth made people suspicious. Former pilots and law enforcement officers were among the witnesses, which added weight.
And I did just like this, and I could see it. And if you look at the trees, you know, it's right here. I mean, it's 300 foot up, right here.
Investigators later reviewed radar data that didn't fully match official explanations. Even skeptics admitted something unusual happened. Stephenville became one of those cases where too many people saw too much to simply brush it off as confusion or coincidence.
There, east-northeast, is right here, right in this direction, right here. I saw it at about 70 degrees up from the horizon.
Voronezh UFO incident. Cold War. Russia wasn't exactly known for entertaining UFO stories openly. That's why the 1989 Voronezh incident surprised so many people. Multiple witnesses, including children and adults, reported a glowing object landing in a public park.
I remember a crowd that gathered around the place. Everybody was scared. Everybody turned pale. I was absolutely flabbergasted.
They described tall beings stepping out, moving around briefly, then returning to the craft. Local police investigated, and the story quickly spread through Soviet newspapers.
I saw some traces there, and also a strange man. Outwardly, he looked like any other man, only he was huge. A moment later, he suddenly disappeared.
Scientists were sent to examine the site and reported unusual soil impressions and radiation readings. While officials avoided confirming anything extraterrestrial, they also didn't deny something strange occurred. Voronezh remains unusual, simply because of how openly it was discussed during a time when information was tightly controlled. Calvin UFO photos. Sometimes one image is enough to keep a mystery alive for decades. In 1990, two hikers in Scotland reportedly photographed a large diamond-shaped object hovering in the sky near Calvin. A military jet was also visible in one of the photos, giving a sense of scale. The images were handed to authorities and quietly disappeared. For years, the UK Ministry of Defence refused to release details. When the photos finally surfaced decades later, they sparked fresh debate. Officials never gave a clear conclusion. What makes Calvin different is how long the images stayed hidden and how seriously they were treated behind closed doors. Falcon Lake incident. This story starts with a man doing something very normal, prospecting near a lake. In 1967, Stefan Michalak said he came across two disc-shaped objects hovering at Falcon Lake in Canada. One landed and he approached it, thinking it was experimental aircraft. Suddenly, hot gas blasted from the craft, burning his chest through his shirt. Michalak was hospitalized, and doctors documented strange grid-like burns. Investigators found radioactive traces at the site and unusual marks in the ground. The Canadian government took the case seriously and investigated for years. Michalak never sought fame and stuck to his account. Chile's witted UFO encounter. Commercial pilots see a lot of things, but this one rattled them. In 1948, pilots Clarence Childs and John Whitted were flying over Alabama when a glowing object suddenly approached their aircraft. They described it as cigar-shaped with windows and flames shooting from the back. The object passed close enough for them to see details clearly. Both pilots independently gave matching descriptions.
I saw this object. It was cigar-shaped. It had a row of windows. Behind them, it was lit. Out of the rear was a cherry red flame.
The U.S. Air Force investigated the case under Project Blue Book, but couldn't settle on an explanation. Suggestions ranged from meteors to secret aircraft, yet none fit perfectly. The pilots never changed their story. Because this happened so early in aviation history, before modern UFO culture, many see it as especially interesting. It's remembered as one of the earliest serious pilot encounters ever officially reviewed.
They took it so seriously that they risked their own careers by writing an estimate of the situation that they sent on to higher headquarters and said that UFOs, some of these UFOs could be extraterrestrial, which of course was not received well by the Pentagon.
Barack Obama on aliens. In 2021, after a major 60 Minutes report on UFO sightings by U.S. Navy pilots, Barack Obama was asked about aliens on The Late Late Show with James Corden. Obama joked that when he became president, he immediately asked if the government had alien bodies or secret labs.
I
came into office, I asked, right? I was like, all right, is there the lab somewhere where we're keeping the alien specimens in spaceship? They did a little bit of research, and the answer was no.
And was told no. Then he shifted tone and said something more serious. He explained that there are recorded objects in the sky that don't move in ways we can easily explain.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
And that the footage is real. This lined up with 3 Navy videos the Pentagon had already confirmed as authentic, now called unidentified aerial phenomena. Obama didn't say they were aliens, but he admitted the government doesn't fully understand them. His comments stood out because a former president openly acknowledged mystery, not speculation, which made people listen worldwide carefully today. Putin alien interview. Imagine a world leader casually joking about aliens, and the internet instantly losing its mind. That's exactly what happened during Vladimir Putin's annual press conference in December 2025. A journalist asked whether a strange interstellar object called 3I/Atlas could be linked to extraterrestrial life.
I have a question for you regarding the unusual celestial object known as 3I Atlas.
Putin laughed and replied that the information was classified.
I'll tell you, but this must remain strictly between us. This is classified information, our secret weapon, but we will only use it as a last resort.
Even calling it Russia's secret weapon. Sounds wild, right? That one comment was enough to spark viral clips, memes, and conspiracy theories everywhere. But here's where reality kicks in. NASA and international astronomers confirmed 3I/Atlas is simply a natural interstellar comet, similar to objects scientists have studied before. No alien tech, no hidden threat, just space doing space things. This moment is a perfect example of how a joke, especially from someone powerful, can turn a normal astronomical event into a full-blown mystery overnight. Authentic sighting New York. CBS News got hold of footage showing mysterious glowing orbs drifting over New York City, and people are buzzing about whether they're UFOs.
We're trying to find out if this is spaceship.
The video shows lights moving slowly in formations. Some say don't match drones or regular aircraft. Experts are debating everything from atmospheric plasma to balloons, but no official answer has landed yet. Whatever they are, those lights have everyone asking, what's really up in the sky tonight? UFO in Jerusalem.
New video this morning that some say may be proof we're not alone in the universe.
A new viral video shows a UFO hovering over Jerusalem, moving silently above the city before suddenly shooting straight up into the sky. CBS reporter Jeff Glor covered the footage, capturing the glowing object as it vanished from sight.
UFO in the form of a bright light is seen descending over the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem.
Witnesses and viewers are left questioning what it could be. A secret drone, a strange atmospheric phenomenon, or something truly unexplained. The city watched in awe as the sky held its secrets. Texas sky sighting. Fox 7's Rudy Koski spoke with eyewitnesses and a drone expert after mysterious lights appeared in the Texas night sky. People described glowing objects moving in ways that didn't match regular drones or airplanes.
Oh, what did I just freaking see, dude? What was that?
Experts weighed in, offering possibilities, but no clear answers.
Are so fixed and tight. Some people assume that that's a laser. Could a laser do that? But does it seem like that there's anything that the lasers are reflecting off of?
That's pretty unlikely. So I'm still thinking that this may be someone testing their do-it-yourself drone swarm.
Locals watched in awe as the lights danced overhead, leaving everyone wondering, could this be a top-secret test, a natural phenomenon, or something completely unexplainable? Unknown object. Things got interesting when viewers noticed something strange happening near the edge of Area 51. During a short news clip, a bright object was seen dropping from the sky and landing close to the heavily guarded base.
I'm pretty sure that this piece came off the actual aircraft.
What really raised eyebrows was how fast the coverage disappeared. News channels mentioned it briefly, then suddenly moved on like it never mattered. No follow-ups, no clear answers. Weeks went by and nothing new came out. That silence made people even more curious. If it was nothing, why not explain it properly? The whole situation feels oddly quiet, like important details were brushed aside on purpose.
Yeah, clear. Also struck behind is the UAV unmanned aircraft with ordnance.
Leaving everyone to wonder what actually came down near one of the most secret places on Earth. Radio station mystery. A bizarre moment happened when a man claiming to work at Area 51 called a radio show, and suddenly the broadcast cut off mid-conversation. Shortly after, a video surfaced online giving a rare glimpse of the restricted area, showing several modern buildings sitting quietly in the middle of the desert. The isolated, calm surroundings made it feel even stranger. Viewers began wondering if this was an accidental reveal, or if the desert itself was deliberately staged to manipulate what people see and believe.